Hey guys, Excessive Total War here. So, taking you through my first ever match in the WWC. So, oh yeah, I've got both, just to make sure. Alright, so yeah, to say it was an exciting matchup is probably the wrong way to put it. It was quite an embarrassing matchup. But look, I'm going to cast it nonetheless. Can't just cast my good games, got to cast my bad games as well, of which I'm sure there's going to be plenty. So, take you through the armies of the composition. So, to start off with, within the tournament, what you get is you get whoever's higher up in the league, which in this case was my opponent, who's Marquis, get to ban two factions and pick their faction, and you can pick your one. So he banned Vampire Counts and Empire, which are kind of, Empire I guess might be a class of a main, yeah. And then pick Greenskins. And the map is, whatever the map is, I think it's Alpin MP, something like that. And then I get to pick my faction. So I decided to go Tomb Kings on the ignorant hope that I would be able to get terror and fear and all sorts of shenanigans going against the Greenskins who have notoriously low leadership. So in this map, you see, obviously you can see both armies, but at this point we couldn't see both each other. So it actually starts off, you're totally blind until you're right on top of each other. But we'll go into a bit more of that later. So just take you through the army comp. So I decided to go with four cab units. I went with two skeletal horsemen with spears and two Nekakaran horsemen, which are actually quite good. Front line are just skellies. I didn't go nuts. Like spears, yeah, I think it was just spears, one swordsman, and I went for three Tomb Guard, which performed quite well on the front line. We went for two Carrion. I figured he would have some sort of missile play. I mean, it's not super dangerous, but I didn't want anything fucking with my constructs, basically. So I took I also took the Necrotect, and his job is purely to buff up these two guys and keep adding health. So he gets two when you select, I can't actually remember what it's called, and I haven't figured out to get this to work yet. Every time I move away from it, it just goes back to Citra. Even if I click on him, goes back to Citra. So if anyone watching this knows how to actually check that in a fucking replay, please let me know. Anyway, so he's got this skill which allows him to drop 1000 HP into twice. So I used that for that. And yeah, that's my army comp. Not particularly extravagant. I'm quite new to the multiplayer scene, so I wanted to go with something that was a little less intensive. I thought this front line will just keep cracking through while I do all the working outside. For my opponent, Marquis, we had two Forest Goblin Spider Riders. He had, I think it was 3 Orc Boys, yeah, 1 Night Goblin, another Orc Boy, so 4 in total. But where the power of his army actually lay was in his Orc Biggins, and I didn't even think about this, and I should have seen this coming. He also has Savage Orc Biggins, which are absolute monstrosities to fight. They're probably, I would say, they're one of the toughest melee units in the game. The only thing that lets them down is they've got no armor. He also brought a giant river troll hag. He brought Scarsneck, which you couldn't give a shit about Scarsneck, but still he brought him. And he brought a black orc big boss. Again, not a huge damage dealer. Well, let me show you stats. So I can show you stats a little bit. So what? 390, 55, 55, 62, blah, blah, blah. The thing that terrified me and the thing that really beat me in this matchup though was these dudes. These stinking fucking trolls. So you'll see when the main battle gets going, I just did not have an answer to them at all. To be fair, I didn't have an answer for anything in this middle pocket. I didn't answer for this, I didn't answer for that, but I didn't have an answer for anything in there, as you'll see. So yeah, so that's the army comps, and he brought 3 Goblin Archers, I think they were. No, it's Orc Arrow Boys, so it was. For it. So, just gonna kick it off. You'll see a wee funny bit right at the beginning. So right now we can't see each other. You see I move off to the right here, just to sort of keep hidden behind the hill. I'm not sure what you can have brought. I actually thought he'd bring a couple more of these. And yeah, there's some funny bit where they spot each other again. I panic. You see, he just like moved to the left and I shit myself. And see where am I going? Like, you know, what if I sent him home because he got spotted? But I kind of realised my mistake and I pulled him back in a little bit. We start moving over, and it's this point here, he's starting to get a glimpse of my army now. And I think it's about now that I get to see his. I feel like there's a way I should be able to define this a bit more, but oh well. So yeah, so now I've spotted these guys, we're moving in for the attack. And you see straight away, like I move my carrier across, my cab starts moving out. I actually almost rush into these guys by accident, but then I pull away at the last second. See, like that. And yeah, the main line's been joined. So the actual river hole track actually took a bit of a pounding against the Chimera North. I'd never noticed that before. Interesting. She actually had to run away. You see my cavalry is moving around the back. The Forest Goblin Spider has come in. I shouldn't have engaged carrying that quick. I should have just kept like messing him about. But anyway, it was what it was. You can see he's dropping. I can't remember what he dropped actually. Oh, Spite of the Bad Moon he dropped. I pull across here. You can see we're already set. Like yeah, these guys get lost. But I managed to pull us across, managed to deny his flank here, and I'm getting on all. In my mind, I'm getting on all the relevant targets. So. But I already know I'm in trouble. I mean, look at this fucking mess. Like, my war sphinx is already seriously bad. You can see I've already put the restore on it, so that's me already used up one. And I have no answer for these trolls. These trolls are just pumping out damage after damage after damage, and I just can't do anything. Like, it's such a new run. Like, yeah, my skeletons will stop your trolls. Don't you worry about that. No, they won't. Let's put here quite proud of though. So I was fighting it up the Goblin Spider Riders. I mean, I knew I could win that fight, but I saw an opportunity to get over here, and I was going to pull on this guy, but then I noticed this, and I was like, ooh, vulnerable. So I pull them across, pull these guys out to disengage them from that particular fight, and pull them across. But you see, Marquis' play is excellent. With 2 Goblin Spider Riders, he isn't holding me off, but he is keeping me preoccupied in the back here, which is really, really good. But yeah, I mean, like I said, we actually do really well in the backline fight. Where we're falling down is this front line. At this stage I decide, screw it, I'm just going to abandon this fight in the right. He's clearly won that engagement. I'm trying to get Cetra on Scar's neck, but every time I hit him, it was just like, you know, I walked up and it was just like, just a wee flop with the hand. Nothing really happened. And you can see, like, he just started taking damage. These guys here getting their arse booted, absolutely dumpstered by the trolls. Like I said, just nothing to stop them. I did drop my. Now I've tried this tree like 5 times now, and I not once been able to pronounce this name. Ushapti. Ushapti. My Ushapti. I dropped to go back line just to finish it off. You see quite well. I did keep using my skull storms, but honestly, they did nothing. They really did nothing. I'm sure they did a bit of damage, but they weren't the damage they were hoping they were going to be. You can see here the right's almost broken. Backline I'm doing alright. These archers return shortly. But I do manage to push off these Forest Goblin Spider Riders and pull back. I pushed off these ones. Carrion is chasing down some sort of archer unit, I think it is. And yeah, I tried to pull us across, but this summon was maybe a bit premature. In reality, because the trolls had just started getting weak here. Maybe with a summon that didn't degrade, I could have actually maybe got a bit of action broken trolls. If I broke it, look how close they are breaking. If I broke it, but managed to keep them broken, I might be able to pull back into this fight. The reality is, though, if you look how much he's left of the field, but if you look at the body count, you know, he's got double what I've got. I'm undead. No one should have double what I've got. So yeah, I kind of knew at this stage the battle was kind of lost. And yeah, I mean, I managed to re-engage these guys. I kind of pull everything in to try and get his last fight, but the rules of the tournament require that you can't cycle charge if you're down to the last few units. Now, not if you're down to your last unit, which I'm not quite there, but I mean, look at Cetra. He's in a bad way. He's got no protection left. I've really got no options. This cavalry is going to do absolutely nothing to the God, what are they called? To the orc infantry. So yeah, pretty shit. But anyway, not taking anything away from Marquis, he's a really, really good player. So, yeah. Needless to say, he welcomed me to the tournament with open arms. And that was the first game. So I'll show you guys kind of the stat line, how the game actually ended up. So you can see here, so Cetra did alright. Like, I mean, they did alright. He did what he was bought and paid to do. You know, 12,000 damage is not to be sniffed at. 81 kills is a bit shit against Greenskin faction, but hey, is what it is. In hindsight, probably should have brought him in a horse. That would be the change I would do next time round. The Necrotect, yes, he was to buff these guys, but quite frankly, if I brought him in a horse and I went for a totally different construct, I don't think I would need him, and I could have got a Tomb Prince instead. I had nothing to really deal with the heroes. That was a problem. If he'd been in a horse and I'd been a Tomb Prince, I could have actually sniped the heroes out. I'd probably taken on the trolls as well, to be fair. My skeletons, I mean, they did what skeletons are meant to do. They actually did an alright amount of damage, so I wouldn't necessarily change that. I think my Tomb Guard did a good job. They did what they're meant to do. Look at 6,000 damage. That's not bad for undead, like infantry unit. My calves, I thought they did a really good job. Carrion, look at that. a bit of a waste of time. So I think I would cut the carrion, I would cut the war sphinx, and put him in a horse, and maybe get a couple of Ushapti? Yeah, a couple of the Ushapti great bows, just to start doing some damage to the likes of the trolls and stuff. And if you look at the damage they did, really paid for himself. Going Spear Riders did well as well. Our boys, yeah, you know, they kind of paid for himself. Savage Art Biggins, look at this. Fucking ridiculous. 11,500 damage. Absolutely nuts. Heroes was a bit mediocre, but it didn't matter. The heroes were just there to buff up the rest and keep the fight going. So, yeah. Not my strongest game, I'm not going to lie. But I'm just going to keep saying, oh, I'm new. So that's the first game. So I'll take you across to the second game now. So in the second game, it was my turn to pick. So I picked Eshin for the map. I banned High Elves and Wood Elves, because who the fuck wants to fight them? And in fact, no, I think I left Wood Elves out. It was Lizards. Who wants to fight Lizards? And I'll just pause it. And I obviously picked Empire. Now, at this point here, like, it was a really nice guy, but, you know, I kind of got a bit of false hope, because I picked this, I banned it, and I'm like, you know, he's like, let me think about this. So I'm like, oh, maybe I've just banned this guy. You know, well, yeah, I have put this guy out of sorts. No. So he goes for Beastman, he's just like, I guess I'll do Beastman. So in my mind I'm thinking, right, maybe not a regular Beastman player, maybe this will work in my favour. And I'd actually just beaten a Beastman player earlier that night with this exact build, with the exception of, I think I had, handgunners to this Empire Knights, but I mixed up a bit. And yeah, so I was feeling quite confident. You'll also notice that we deployed in two different parts of the battlefield. He clearly wasn't wanting to fight like a pitch battle where he's going to have to move or have to advance on me because of the firepower for the Empire, and I did not want to fight in this like bits of shit. I mean, it just would have obstructed all my views and stuff and would have cost me a nightmare. So we both deployed normal bits. Now at this bit, I'm getting cocky. I've won my match before, and I'm thinking, I've got a couple of handgunners, I've got the great almighty cannon, we will start leveling off into this. So you can see we're both sort of redeployed at this stage. But I mean, he brought a beast of an army, so actually I'll just go through and show you what we got. So in my army it went for 5 flagellants, which, you know, unbreakable, I think are a good frontline unit. 5 is maybe excessive, 4 would probably do the same job. Excessive, like self-branding. And the handgunners, I think it's an obvious pick for Empire. You have to pick a couple of handgunners. I went really wide, so I went 1, 2, 3. I'm just shit myself thinking about just broke the rules. 4, 5. No, I haven't. No, because their halberdiers are not counted as the same variant. So 5 spearmen and 1 halberdiers, 1 great cannon, 1 Empire Knights. I brought a warrior priest with all his kit because I quite like a warrior priest. I brought a bright wizard against a faction which is probably gonna move against me with fast speed and stuff. Nah. Really was quite a poor choice. I would have been better with someone that could have healed, although it's not the right army for healing. I don't know what else I could have gone for, to be honest. Maybe gone for death, so I could have sort of focused on their heroes. I don't know. And I went for Boris, Grand Toddbringer. The reason I went for him is because regeneration, but the regeneration is totally, well, in my opinion, it is massively overestimated its power, because this game did not last long enough for him to regenerate fuck all. For my opponent, he went for Unger Spearherd with shields, 1 with shields, 1 without. He went for Blackhorns Ravagers with shields and a Goreherd. 2 Goreherds and then Unger with shields again. He went for 3 Centaurs with throwing axes and 3 Centaurs along with a Chaos Warhounds and 2 Razor Goreherds, along with a Brave Shaman of the Wild and Morgar himself. Now Morgar and this Brave Shaman, absolute monsters, particularly this Brave Shaman, you'll see across the match, he just does great work. I'll start an extra Chaos Warhound over here throughout the match. So, without further ado, let's get cracking. Alright, so you can see here, I'm sort of redeploying. At this point, I've already got a cannon open up, but I keep changing fucking targets. I don't know what I was thinking. And I don't even think I do any damage. Like, I was on him, then I was on him. I was just trying to decide where to put it. I couldn't find a place for this cannon. That was what really bugged me through this battle. My front line, I sort of, because I'm attacking with cannon, I'm okay just to sit there like a pawn and sit and wait for them. And you can see I've got Udo to protection. I'm moving up to guard the cannon, all that sort of stuff, because I know the cannon's what we're going for. In reality, I should have kind of given up on the cannon a bit, left, maybe moved it into the middle, but I should have focused my defences around these handgunners, but so it be. So you can see he moves around for a hard push on my left flank and his right flank. My gunners open up and waste their ammo against shielded troops. I was actually aiming for the Razor Gore herd, though, to be fair. And you see, but the front line is doing well. My flatulence absolutely tank the damage for starters, and they dish it out, which is really, really good. But you can see this gap here. This was my mistake. And these guys coming in. I was actually quite surprised I didn't just keep pushing on, but yeah. So a couple of things happen here. So I actually pull quite a bit of control here. I think I end up pulling these guys back. Yeah. And I decide with Boris, you know what, I could probably get down there. Because, you know, it's a relatively low model count, probably get in. You see Bray Shaman just set off. I need to find out what that spell's called again. It's not a screen one. Can't remember what it's called. Now, this is a catastrophic mistake. So, at the moment, the front line, we're kind of tanking it. And I decide I'm focusing somewhere over here. I think I was focusing on doing this fire cast, which, you know, was alright. But I left poor Boris. Poor fucking Boris out in the wild here. The man was distraught. As you can see, just goat after goat after goat is coming in. All the goats are lining up in the hills. Everyone's throwing their shit at him. He's got all these guys pinning him in. It was a good move by Marquis, don't get me wrong, but a really sloppy move from my point of view. Oh, look at that. I was quite lucky. I never noticed that before. So yeah, you see he's just getting pinned down and his health is just plummeting. The front line as well, sorry we missed it there, was Morgar did his double spawn of Chaos Spawn. You can see they push straight into my handgunners and rip them apart. I mean, it's a perfect target for them, nice and squishy. I decided to try and pull them back, move the Flagellants in to take on the Chaos Spawn. I didn't want to waste, given I knew most of his army was mounted, I didn't want to waste my anti-large on dudes that were going to eventually disappear. You see my knights are still pretty healthy, but I don't know if I overcommit my knights here. We're trying to catch this Bray Shaman because he's been doing my nutting. See, Boris is on the run. He does actually come back. He rallies about here, so keep an eye out for that. And you see it's looking pretty grim. I get off a good fire cast in the middle here, but he just keeps this pressure up on this side. Keeps that up. Now, my front line is still surprisingly holding, and at some point here I realise that Morgar's actually quite beat up, and the Warrior Priest, these guys are doing alright. The Warrior Priest can probably move against him. You see Boris comes back, but I mean, things look dire, right? I've got this side's collapsing, the front isn't collapsing, but it's only because guys aren't unbreakable, but we aren't winning. The centre, you know, they've now taken out my cannon, my poor fucking handgunners are trying to find a home but can't find anyone. They're now shooting at these guys, these doggos, and these Senegors decide to jump on me here. But you see, I'm bringing in Boris, and he's getting away from him anyway. We've actually managed to create like a wee sort of circle here to defend ourselves. So Boris comes in, I managed to drop down on these guys. We've got the gunners firing in, we've got them, and I think, yeah, the Senegors go for them. In a minute, I pull across everything from here, and I'm quite proud of this. We actually managed to win this centre pocket back and push all of that away. We break off the Razor Gore herd, because you can see, like, they look scary, but actually they're not winning that fight at all. All these guys I knew were breaking, and they are not winning that fight. Oh, they just won that fight. I remember them losing that fight. How embarrassing. Oh well. Yeah. Over here, the Bray Shaman, again, this guy was he was such a troll. Everywhere I looked, he was fucking there. Like, I turned around, he's behind me. I looked over there, he was in front of me. It's just an absolute dick, he was everywhere. We fire cast here, which I thought was quite good. Actually managed to pull my wizard out and broke off that unit. But you can see here, I cleaned up the centre pocket. We're now starting to push him back. So, I wasn't getting, see that's that spell again. I wasn't getting cocky at this point, but I was kind of thinking, right, it's going to shit. They've broken off pretty much everything. I'm so annoyed I didn't realise this was here. This could have come and attacked him from behind because he didn't engage them for ages. But I decided, you know what, goose it, I'm just going to go for this middle bit. I'm going to hope that my guys all being in the same place will help our leadership. So we decided to just pile down on top of these guys and maybe potentially break up their infantry. They've still got heaps of ammunition left though. I mean, I'm goosed. I should have known it. A gentleman might have called GG, but not me. And yeah, so we pile in the middle here. Morgan decides to come in for good measure. I throw down all the buffs. We've got Hammer Sigmar, we've got the Battle Prayer, Shield of Faith. I even throw down the Soul Fire to try and, I don't know, kill a single entity like a tit I am. And yeah, we decide to pile on him. So Boris in a minute's going to turn round and then we focus down on Morgan. And we actually do a good job. So here I actually break off Morgan. I just didn't have enough left. Like, if I'd actually managed to maybe pull these, because look, I've got some health here, I've got some layer, some layer. If I'd actually managed to pull these guys in, I might be able to do something. But what they had left, my fire spells weren't going to do anything again. Morgar's starting to break off, but it's too low. Too late, if I'm being honest. Bit sad, but it is what it is. The Sharks in a river spell, and these guys just keep coming in, and I think they're just slowly picking up the flagellants, and there's only a couple of them left. Once the flagellants are gone, there's nothing really holding my army to give her any sort of break off, and that is the end of it. Army losses gets called very, very soon. Yeah, and there goes army losses. That was the end of game 2. So yeah, not a shining start to my championship for sure, but yeah, it was a bit of an eye opener. Definitely now I'm playing at a different level. So, but looking into the army composition, we've got. I mean, Boris did okay. If I hadn't chucked him into that fight straight off the bat and I'd used him for what he should be used for, which is sniping the enemy characters, I might have actually done okay. Like, if he'd been chasing that fucking brave shaming the whole time, I might have done a bit better. The Warrior Priest, I thought the Warrior Priest actually did okay. He held the line at the front, did the bits and pieces. Would I go for him again? Probably not. Might have gone for maybe an Empire Knight, and then him and Boris could have teamed up and just gone around and sniped people. The Bright Wizard actually did a lot of damage, so I felt like he underperformed, but you know, if you look at his stats, he didn't. He actually did his job, so won't be too judgy on him. The Infantry, to be fair, the Infantry actually did okay. They didn't do a bad job. I was quite happy with that. What the fuck was he doing though? Look at this. 4 kills. My great cannon. 4 kills. 423 damage. I mean, Christ, 423 damage. I probably accidentally did that to my own troops. And 78 damage value. So just shocking. And the Knights did quite well. I would definitely go for Knights again. So I think if I was to do it again, I'd probably cut the cannon, maybe cut one of the flagellants, and increase my gunners and get a bit more cav. That would be the counter build, I think, to this particular one. His units did really, really well, so Morgar did alright, but look at his Brave Shaman, 13,000 damage, which is absolutely 131 kills. His infantry did what his infantry was meant to do. His cav gameplay was really, really good. Like, look at all that pressure, look at all that mobility he had. That's what Beastmen are about, but yeah, played him really well. So hat off to you, Marquis. Excellent games. Maybe not well played from my point of view, but certainly well played from your point of view. And yeah, certainly a challenging start to the championship. But I was actually playing a match tonight, and I played much better. And it was a really good match as well. The guy Destroyer I was playing tonight, and yeah, it was a good matchup. So look forward to that video. So guys, thanks for joining me and watching the video. If you liked what you saw, please hit that like button. It does help me get noticed. And yeah, subscribe, because it'll keep you up to date with my embarrassments, such as today. I'm sure there's plenty more to come. And my successes, which you may or may not see in the next one. I'll leave that as a bit of a surprise. But yeah, and that's me 2 points down so far in the tournament. So that's 2 of 18 points that I've lost. Fingers crossed, managed to get a bit more. Alright, thanks guys. Catch you later.